Alright, we're gonna get into a little session. Pre-dinner ignition. Play and attempt to explain. Most of the tables seem fine, except for the bottom right, so we're going to be sitting out the next spline there and then searching for greener pastures. We have a four-way limp pot. Top right, no strong feelings whether stab or not. Go for the check. And we will muck the 8-4. Exit out of that one, wait a little bit, and try to reopen the table. Get the recreational player limping in the hijack in table 2, and ace king off. We will be planning to ISO or 3-bet in ISO, which comes from the other recreational player, and we get a cold call. So sizing here, I'm wondering if 5x is okay. Maybe not quite that big. I'd be treating it as 4-bet pot, which I think is okay versus ISO cold call on the button. Don't really want to give good odds after one player to call for another player to call behind and then be out of position versus 2. So we're just going to go to 20 big blinds here. And we're hoping the cutoff player ships and the button folds. It looks like we might just get it through. Looks like we have top pair in the limp pot, table 1, and we're just gonna throw one blind in there. Get table 2 through, and see if we can find any green pastures on a new table. Versus the call on the 7x. With no kicker and potential backup equity, it can be tempting to call and have position on this player, most likely floating out this one, but this is going to make the tight-ish fold here without any extra equity and with the worst kicker for top pair. Don't have a perfect game here, that's okay. 10s is an interesting spot here. I don't know how I feel about it. Versus any other position in the button cold call. I have both players labeled as recreational. Go for the call here. I'm going to squeeze the 10s this time on a low roll. I think calling most of the time. Queen 4 suited on ace jack deuce. We're just going to check fold. Button versus big blind. I think table 3, we won't be suffering too much if we just range bet and look to polarize Not necessarily overbet and 3-bet pot here on table 3, but just check back a lot on turns, including weak king x. We'll go for the 33p this time. Folding here. Top right, I'm sure mixes at some capacity. Probably going half or check-ish. And we're going to go with the half this time, especially with the ace of diamonds. I think checking's fine. I'm not too sure about the range 33p here. Given the 3-bet formation and that we're going to have overpairs that would want to go large for protection purposes, and I think they'll suffer from the range bet. Pick up 10s back to back. This will just be pure 3-bet versus the hijack. And do we want to keep barreling ace-king on the turn? I think we'll check back here. Don't think we're getting many pairs to fold on the turn here on the brickiest of cards. And not sure if we can get called by too much worse ace-x. We possibly can, but we block the diamond draw. So I think we can just try to move into showdown, and it's fine to see a bunch of pairs in their range here. Potentially we can beat maybe some king-queen and ace-high hands that call the flop. Queen-jack seems okay too. We could go for a check raise here. I think we'll just go for half pot here this time. But might be one of our preferred check raising hands that we could mix in on bottom left, I believe. Not sure if the spade matters too much. Yeah, we're not... he shouldn't have much 10-7 suited. He'll have some 10-9 suited that we're not blocking too much. I'm just blocking flush draws, but I think half pot or check raise is fine. On the button here versus the rec, we could go either way. It's kind of tempting to keep in the big blind here or let them shove over or call. And then just call off. I think we might go for that this time. Just to either bring this player along or let them shove wide and call. Probably normally 3-betting here. Great flop and versus the check, I think. I think out of position we'll be wanting to do a lot of checking in this position, potentially betting small. And then I think we're going to mostly want to check or bet on a more sizable side, such as 66 plus. So we're gonna go for that size here. Yep, and versus the sneaky sneak. With the double backdoors, I think we will need to continue here. We are blocking some obvious draws from them. So the Broadway containing clubs, that's okay. The 8 shouldn't interact too much. Don't think I'll have much Jack 9 suited besides Jack 9 of clubs, which we block. So I don't think he picks up any more draw equity there, and so I'm imagining Ace Jack here starts to become indifferent. I just don't know if we have much better as the cold caller on the button. And for that reason, even though the Jack's kind of bad blocking a lot of stuff, I think we have to call. 10s is going to reduce his amount of sets in Ace 10, which is favorable, and the club bricks, and I think just on this sizing we're going to have to call off this run out, unfortunately, and table 2 with just draw to a weak flush, I think we're going to fold. And I think we just have to bluff catch on table 3, although check raise triple barrel's pretty strong. And Ace King is fine, makes sense. That could definitely be a punt versus check raise triple barrel. So we're going to mark that hand. You can run out later, think about it. Jack of clubs probably is pretty bad on the turn to have, blocking Queen Jack suited, King Jack suited, bluffs that he'll have. Oh, and the 10 pairs on the river blocking more of his Ace 10 and pocket 10s, and all his gut shot draws brick along with clubs, though it might not be as relevant. I think we need to bluff catch there, although maybe we should be using like a weak suited ace or something instead of Ace Jack. Just worried that we're blocking too many bluffs there. Re-up table 3 and open Ace King off on table 1. Queen Jack off's a little loose, but I think we can ISO on the button versus the hijack limp over here. Can have lots of different strategies on Ace King X two-tone. Could probably overbet or check, bet small. Versus the recreational, I think just betting small pretty often is going to be nice. Start to build some fold equity for his low pocket pairs that we can barrel most turns, I believe, on. Folding Queen 7 off here. And check back pocket 5s on Jack 8 deuce two-tone. Don't think anything shifted for us to want to have a delayed c-bet here. Could probably reserve it for 7x plus if we have much of it. And I'm going to be looking to check it down. Potentially beating some ace high 4s and 3s, but losing to a decent amount of 8x and 7x, I think. opening ace-4 suited. Won't be playing king-5 off even versus min open in the cutoff. I'm assuming it's going to fold versus a button min open as well. Alright, ace-4. We've connected board. I think we'll usually want to have a decent checking range here and potentially sizing up. And I think bets here can fold out a lot of weaker backdoor spades that we want to keep in. So I think mixing in a check's okay. Turn the OESD and have a min donk. Or a min probe, rather. I think we'll just call this time. Could just be a lot of 5x and 6x. We could raise in position there on the turn. Gonna do this line, not gonna turn into a bluff now. And so yeah, it could just be a tell when players min probe turns that it's super merge and might be able to have quite a lot of fold equity through raise and double off on the river. So that could be reasonable play. And nothing going on here for us to continue this hand versus the big blind donk here. Jack 6 off is gonna be, or Jack 6 suited is gonna be too loose. Just gonna stab. Most limp pots that go check check. Just do a lot of turn stabby. I think this is an okay card to barrel on. Just expect weaker players to bet a lot of their king X on the flop. And a lot of better hands we can get to fold, so I'll go for another bet. I think 6-5 off is just going to be too loose in the small blind still. Playing a 3x or fold small blind thingy at the moment. Get a pretty loose call from this guy with 8s on the 10 jack XX something. Unfortunately, they have left the building. This guy with his elegant, exact all-in size for the ISO. And get the walk at table 3 with the ace-10 off. This table doesn't look too beautiful, but not going to record much longer, so we'll just wait this one out. I'm going to open ace-jack off table 4. Opening ace-jack off on the cutoff. Table 1. The board will be checking a lot if it was only big blind cloud, but further incentivized to do so when the button cold calls. Yeah, I was just thinking about this ace-jack off hand. If we're allowed to fold versus the 3.5x check raise followed by the pot-ish 75p turn barrel, if we should just make our folding decision on this node. Once we call, we're at 3/4 SPR, less than that actually, almost half SPR. Just so priced in, it makes it kind of nasty to fold much. So I think the biggest point of contention is I think we have to call flop with our double backdoor, even though we're blocking some obvious bluffs. And then I wonder if we can find folds on the turn. I'll probably just call off versus this guy. If this guy gets involved and there's another bet, I'll probably fold, and we'll fold here. And we'll 3-bet that. And what's going on here? We just have single raise pot. Probably okay to go small here. And this guy calls, so if he shoves, kind of dicey spot. I think we just have to call fold though, given the price. And this should check a lot, playing for the chop. We'll be 3-betting to a smallish size and position versus the half stack. We'll just be check folding top right. And he has the 2-pair, which is fine. And we flop the nutter butter. Not many hands on this guy. I'm feeling the slow play on the lowest of rolls, plus let's give them rope to hang, and we're not in much rush at a 3-1 SPR. It's a hand that can go either way, though betting, obviously I'm blocking Queen X and lots of pairs. And now we just hope they picked up some equity with spades or Broadway / mid-high cards that connect. Let's be going for the half pot bet. If he calls, we'll put it at 28 bigs, and I'll have 40, so I'll have a slight overbet on the river. Slightly size up here to potentially give them better price on river jams. Timed out, unfortunately. I guess it's open heads up, but I don't really know what heads up is about. So as long as this player stays, I'll play three-handed. Queen 5 off is going to be too weak to open. Get a cold call from the cutoff here with ace-8 suited. And we have this limp pot. I'll just take a stab with the 9. I don't mind checking a lot to the in-position raiser on Jack 5 deuce. Or the in-position caller. Be fine checking this one back. Take our showdown we have. Chop chop. Let's take a stab on table 4 here. On table 2 we have a decision if we want to attempt to get better ace-x to fold or just any cards with equity. I think most weaker players, such as the cutoff cold caller that check back the flop, are fairly capped. So we could apply some pressure, but I don't think this combo needs it too much. And we have a straightforward fold and try to watch out what happens. Table 4, raise it up. And we're just going to give up with the ace-8 of clubs on table 2. And most of his ace-x is probably going to check back, so I don't think we're evaluating ourselves from losing to worst ace-x, and given the check-check 2 bigs, I think we're priced into call with ace-high, and yep, I think that's about it. And king 5 off, we're not going to get in there versus the min-open. We lose to small player on table 2. Looks like we have a limp pot on table 2. We got the fleshy. I'm just gonna stab out at it. Maybe we'll be 3-betting ace queen off at pretty high frequency versus the button open. So we're gonna go with that today. The pair plus flush draw is pretty nice versus 2 calls though. not our favorite, but we're going to continue with a half-size follow-through. Won't be opening queen 7 off in the small blind here, opening 6s in table 1. We get the flush complete with the paired board. Don't think this type of player will fold much ace-x, so potentially could overbet. The only thing is that will put us in a force to call off min raise jam. If we bet 15 and he has 30 left. Oh, we can call the min raise here. We're just going to go for the smallish bet on table 2. Maybe we can consider a shove, etc. This is a board we'll be checking back quite a lot, so we're going to go for that this time. Versus the min raise follow through half pot. I think we're going to have to continue 6s here. Probably not raising too much here in position with the 6s. One of our least favorite turns here. But I think having a set is still strong enough, plus outs, that we can go with a half pot delayed c-bet. Versus pretty much any other sizing here, we can start to fold the 6s, but I think versus quarter pot turn, we just have to flick it in. Be raising the limp pot OESD here. And I think we will need to bluff catch table 1 most of our pairs. The line is pretty wonky with half pot, quarter pot, half pot. There's probably plenty of bluffs they can have with missed gut shots, broadways, all types of stuff. I don't think we're blocking many bluffs. I don't think 5-6 suited will raise us pre. That is the concerning thing. With their small 3-bet from the blinds, it could be overpairs, but I think we will have to bluff catch here. And ace-king works out for them. And versus the min raise here, not having much of a folding range, maybe. I can't think of many hands that will open cutoff and then fold to the min raise, maybe jack 10 off. But ace 9 off, we're going to be continuing. We'll be folding jack 9 off here. And we just won't be letting go on this board. I'll check this one back. I think we want to go 3/4 here and set up the 25 big pot on the river, and he'll have 18. Maybe we'll go slightly smaller. And we'll be calling off with our pair plus OESD. Not sure if we're going to get called by any single paired 10x if we pot size shove the river here. So I'm thinking we just go for small thin value bet and hope that you can call with more of his 10x range. Definitely kind of a strange line taken by me with the half and then in position block, but I think it performs okay with his stacked depth. We got called by jacks, so possibly could have gotten stacks there. Maybe we just need to value bet larger and hope to get called off higher. And we'll be ISOing pocket queens. Pretty interesting flop. I'm not sure how the limp call range interacts here in terms of like their suited hands and whatnot. I'm assuming their limp call range has a lot of like offsuit stuff and then maybe weak ace-x suited stuff. Could have also just all sorts of weird stuff like king 5 suited. I think we'll check back here. Don't think there's a strong preference to go either way. Yeah, Jack 10 here with the gut shot on a favorable-ish board for us. I think we can get away with some type of split here. And oh, what is this? Never mind, this config is just limp pot. Limp check, huh? I feel like it's an isoable hand. Take a stab on table 1. Yep, versus min raise, not too happy, but with our front door flush, we're gonna have to continue. We'll check the side on table 1. I'm trying to think if he's doing much ace of hearts X that stuff on the turn. I feel like there's a decent chance they would be pulling that on the flop with a bet. And another nasty spot where I think we're just forced to call off due to the small bet. And he flopped the flusharoo. I think king 10 off is going to be too weak to 3-bet here. And thinking about delay spot, I feel like this is a board that we'll want to have some small bets just because we'll have hands that want to have protection, such as the naked 9x. And also the fact that we're blocking so much value that can call us, including having the heart blocker. I think we want to have some small probes here. 7 shouldn't change much, as his 10-8 is going to largely bet the flop, and if it doesn't bet the flop, it's going to think about raising the turn. So I think we're pretty nutted here. We might have a lot of stuff that missed too, a lot of gut shots, a lot of missed draws. I think we want to go for the overbet here. I'm not sure if our hand class loves it though, blocking all the value, so maybe we have some type of split here. Or like ace jack, if we have it in this line, can overbet, and so I'm thinking maybe more actually we're going to pivot to a 75p bet here. Maybe weaker 2-pair can do this. I think we call most raises here. We're not loving it with top 2. I think we're forced to. And I think, yep, this will be the last hand we'll be playing. It's Jack 10 clubs. And we're just gonna fucking pop it. Alright, exactly what we want. Out of position versus 2 players. Nope, kind of in no man's land now. I think we just check give up here. Potential to bluff off better broadways, but I don't know if we have much fold equity versus the mid pairs, and versus 2 players out of position is pretty nasty with no equity besides backdoor straight draw. I think we're just going to give up there. Versus that fun bet, I think we're gonna give them 14 free big blinds. And they earned it. All right, let's play this last hand. That one didn't go well. Another spot where we can split. I think with the check lots in position, I think having no draws, no equity besides pair outs, and kind of targeting worse king X to fold, I think this hand's okay to check. And then I think we just check die on this turn. Okay, that's going to conclude this one. Thanks, and bye.